It started the way most messes do. Quietly. One day, I looked up from my coffee and saw him. Sam, the neighbor's cat, perched like a statue in the kitchen doorway. Calm, watchful, familiar in a way that didn't belong to me, yet somehow did. He had wandered through the cat door I installed for my own 2 cats, uninvited, but not unwelcomed. My cats didn't mind. Neither did I. At first, it was just a visit. A few hours here, a nap in the sunbeam that hits the living room rug around noon, a slow blink from the bookshelf as I watered the plants. Then he'd slink back home through the yard like a diplomat crossing borders. But Sam kept returning, day after day, longer stays, deeper sighs of comfort, until one day I woke up and realized he never left. Now, you need to understand something. Sam doesn't belong to me. He belongs to my neighbors. They have 2 dogs, 2 young adult sons who treat the house like a drumline, and, of course, another cat. It's not a quiet home. It's not a gentle one. My home is different. It's quiet. I live alone. No barking, no chaos, just stillness and soft music and slow mornings. And maybe that's why he chose it. Maybe Sam found a peace here that his own home couldn't give him. He started spending nights curled at the foot of my bed, mornings perched on the windowsill, blinking into the dawn like he owned the view. I pet him, played with him, spoke to him like I do my own. Because how do you not offer kindness to a creature that looks at you with that kind of trust? But Sam has medical conditions. He requires prescription food, pills every morning. And when he first started visiting, his family did something that I appreciated deeply. They gave me a small container of his special food. They handed me his pills. They said, "If he's there in the morning, can you give him this?" Of course, I said yes. Because when an animal trusts you, when he curls beside you in vulnerable sleep, you take responsibility, you protect them. But then, without warning, everything changed. They called me, said they needed to talk. Their voices softer than usual, sadder. They told me it was hard, that it hurt, that Sam, their cat, seemed to be moving in with me. And they didn't know what to do with that grief. They weren't angry, not yet. But they were unraveling in a silence I hadn't seen before. And I told them the truth. I wasn't trying to steal him. I didn't lure him in with treats. I didn't shut the door behind him. He walked in on his own. I simply didn't push him out. I told them my home is calm. Maybe that's what he needed. But then their tone shifted. They took back his food, his pills, told me not to feed him at all, said if he's hungry enough, he'll go home, that I had to stop letting him eat at my house, even if it meant changing how I feed my own cats. And that's when it got messy. Because I couldn't leave food out for my cats anymore. Sam would find it, so instead, I started rationing, picking up the bowls at night. But my cats, they're used to grazing. Now they were hungry, confused, waking me up in the middle of the night, crying, scratching at the bedroom door. I was trying to protect Sam, but I was punishing my own. So I stopped telling the neighbors when he came over. They didn't come looking for him anyway. I watched him sneak bites of my cat's kibble when I wasn't fast enough. I tried to stop him every time, but I failed sometimes. He was too quick, too quiet. I even bought his prescription kibble, paid for it with my own money, put it in a separate bowl, hoping he'd choose it. Sometimes he did. But what kind of person buys special food for a cat that isn't theirs? What kind of person medicates a stranger's pet? What kind of person lets someone else's cat fall asleep in their bed? I started asking myself these questions, quietly, at night, when the house got too still. Because there's a truth nobody wants to admit about cats. They choose us. And Sam? He chose me. But is that enough? Because no matter how many times he curled up on my chest, no matter how many times I caught him watching me like I was his safe harbor, he still wasn't mine. I didn't pay his vet bills. I didn't raise him from a kitten. I didn't sign the paperwork that said, "This soul belongs to me." And still, here we were. The neighbors got angry, said they were heartbroken, said I was making it worse. They wanted me to make him leave. But how do you explain to someone that you can't force a cat to go where he doesn't want to go? How do you say, "I didn't ask for this, but I can't shut the door on him now"? Because I tried. I did. I tried putting him back outside. I tried discouraging him. But every time I opened that door, he just sat outside it, stared at me with a kind of sadness I didn't know cats could have. Eventually, I stopped fighting it. I just let him in. He wasn't my cat, but I was his human. And I don't know what to do with that. Because every time I see him, every time I watch him curl on the couch with my cats like he's always belonged, I wonder if I crossed a line I didn't see. If I loved too easily. If I let my empathy blur into entitlement. But I also wonder, what would have happened to him if I didn't? What if he never got his pills again? What if he wandered into someone else's house and they weren't kind? What if he was hungry and no one noticed? So, I ask you, am I the asshole? For letting a cat find peace in my home? For feeding him when he was hungry? For loving him when he needed gentleness? Or should I have turned him away? Should I have closed the door and said, "You belong to someone else," even as he sat there shivering? Even as he begged with his eyes for a place to rest? I don't know. I really don't. But I do know this. The world is full of noise. Barking dogs, slamming doors, yelling sons, crowded rooms, and loud TVs. And sometimes, a quiet home becomes sanctuary. Sometimes, you become a refuge without trying to be. And sometimes, love doesn't ask for permission. It just shows up and sits at your door, waiting. This story isn't just about a cat. It's about choice, boundaries, and the complexity of care. What does it mean to be responsible? What does it mean to be kind? And when does kindness cross into interference? This isn't black and white. No one in this story is a villain, not the OP, not the neighbors, not even Sam, who simply followed the warmth. It's easy to say, "You shouldn't have let him in." It's harder to say, "I see why you did." So now, I turn to you, listener. If a soul came to your door, again and again, asking quietly for shelter, would you let them in? Comment below. Was OP just being compassionate? Or did they cross a line? And when love isn't yours to claim, should you give it anyway? Let us know. This has been AITA Stories. Until next time, keep listening, keep questioning, keep being human.